guys, welcome back to my channel. Simone here. So today I'm going to be pre-filming another video because I will still be on holiday when this video goes live. Actually, I'll be just back from my holiday, but I want to pre-film to make sure that I've got enough time to get it up for you. And so I know that this is another tag. This is the second tag in a row, and I can only apologise for that. But I liked filming it, so I'm going to do it. So I'm going to be filming the How I Read book tag. I will link the original below. I don't actually, saying that, I looked up the original and it is no longer available. So I will link some of the ones I've watched below so that you can go and watch those. So the first question is, how do you find out about new books to read? And I get this from a few different places. So I do watch a lot of BookTube, so a lot of the times I see people talking about books that they've read or want to read, and I obviously then will go and watch the same or read the same books and that. Other than that, I generally get most of my books from the library. So what I tend to do is I will look at I'll go in and see if there's anything there that I fancy or I've heard of, again, that I've heard on BookTube. Some of the things I tend to do, though, I do like the Goodreads lists. I know some people probably don't, but I actually quite like them because, for example, when I first started BookTube, I'd not read a lot of the kind of popular books that a lot of people had read. And so when I first started, what I was doing was I was kind of getting like the, I don't know, fantasy list or the crime and thriller list, and I was kind of reading some of the ones that were the most like popular, and I think that's quite good. I also though do like to read books that aren't, so sometimes I'll just randomly pick up a book that looks quite interesting. That's kind of how I find out how most of them, like most of what they are. I don't really know other than that. I just kind of I'm never at a loss for a book, so yeah, that's generally what I do. Question number 2 is, how did you get into reading? And for me, I've kind of always been a reader. I know there's that kind of age-old story, and I will sort of quickly tell the story, but basically my mum's always said that when I started nursery school when I was about 3 or 4 years old, maybe 3, I can't really remember, I think I was about 3, and I went to nursery, and while all my kind of friends and other people in the class were playing with the equipment and kind of Play-Doh and then in the playground and things, I could always be found sat in the library section of the where they keep all the books, and I always had a book open and I was reading it. Now, I didn't often pick picture books up, I've never really been a picture book person. I pretty much had a book that had words in, even though I could not read at the time. I was kind of looking at the words, I think. Obviously they did have some pictures in, so I was probably looking at those too. But yeah, I've always been somebody who really likes to read. I read through all of the books at my school, so my teacher actually had to lend me her books from home because I had read all the stuff from school. So that's kind of my beginning, and then I've just read ever since. I had a bit of a lull for about 3 years while I was at uni. I really didn't read anything at uni. Not because I didn't like reading or anything anymore, just because I had so much uni work to do that I just kind of fell out of it. And so when I had some time off, I didn't want to be reading again because I was reading textbooks all day. I just wanted to kind of read. Then I would just watch Netflix, basically. That's essentially what happened. But yeah, so I've always been a reader, love reading, and my family are all readers, so yeah, that's kind of where it comes from, I guess. Question number 3 is, how has your taste in books changed as you've got older? And I think that my taste in books has changed a bit, but to be honest, it hasn't changed a whole lot. I generally like reading books that make me happy and but that also a lot of the time have a kind of point to them. I don't really necessarily like books that are very wishy-washy. I do think as a child, obviously I was into children's books then, I've always loved Harry Potter throughout, so that's never changed. I think probably when I was about sort of 16 to 20, I was reading a lot more like women's fiction and like Jackie Collins and stuff. Like, they were my kind of thing. I liked kind of smutty, romance heavy comedy books, whereas now I'm probably much more like I read a much wider variety of things. I do read more fantasy, I like contemporary, sometimes not as much, which is probably a bit more like that. I love crime books, I've always loved crime books, and I'm actually starting to really like non-fiction too, so I think probably the only difference in my reading is that I've expanded the books that I read. Question number 4 is, how often do you buy books? And I do buy books occasionally. I have a subscription box every month that comes, and that's one book in there. But to be honest with you, I tend to only buy books when I'm buying presents for people and I need to make up the shipping cost on Amazon. So I'll like add in a couple of books just to like make sure I get free shipping. Other than that, I don't really buy books. I do tend to sort of use my library a lot more. I'm actually going to link a video that I'm going to link a video below that Bex Books, who's one of my favourite YouTubers of all time, did quite a little while ago, I think it was a couple of months now, which was like, was talking about her, it basically was called something like banning buying books or something, but she was talking there about how she wants to use her library more and how she wants to cut out buying books because she feels like she can spend money on other things and she doesn't need to buy books. So I linked that below because I kind of totally found myself nodding my head as I was watching that video. So yeah, I don't really buy books very often. I tend to use the library mostly. Question number 5 is, how did you get into BookTube? And basically, I won't go into massive detail, but I started beauty BookTube. I started doing beauty videos and hauls and like fashion and things, probably 2015, September 2015 I think, and that was because I'd had a bit of a nervous breakdown, and after a while I was getting a bit better, but I wanted something, because I didn't really like leaving the house very much because my anxiety was very high, and I wanted something to take my mind off the fact that I wasn't at work, and I just wanted to do something with my day. And so I started making videos about makeup and about that, and then I saw someone's video, I can't remember which video it was, and I suddenly discovered that BookTube was a thing, and I was so excited, I can't even tell you. And then I started doing a few book videos here and there, and then I can't remember when it was, and then at some point I decided to just solely do BookTube because I really wasn't enjoying making the beauty one that much. Like, I liked it, but it definitely wasn't kind of my passion, whereas books definitely are. So that's how I started that, and I've kind of kept going ever since. Question number 6 is, how do you react when you don't like the ending of a book? And I'm just a bit disappointed. I do the whole like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed, which I think is worse. I will continue reading a book if it's just the ending that's not great. Like, I will read to finish the ending, but I really hate it when books have rubbish endings, because I feel like I've read the whole book and kind of got myself excited for the end and then it's rubbish, and yeah, I just won't read that author for a little while. And question 7, the final question, is, how often do you take a sneak peek at the ending to see if it's a happy ending or not? And I would say never. I never look at the ending of the book. The only reason I would look to the back pages to find out how many pages are in the book, so I know, like, because I have this thing where I like look at the ending and I'll know kind of how many days that will take me to read, because I read a certain amount a day. It's really, really confusing, but yeah, I don't ever look at the ending. I hate it. AJ, my boyfriend, has done it a couple of times where he's sort of looked at the last sentence, and I think, why would you do that? Like, I don't understand. I don't want to know the ending before I've read the book. So yeah, never is the answer to that. So now I need to tag people, and I think this is quite an old tag, so I will tag a few people. If you've done it already, I apologise. Don't feel pressured to do it though. It's just an invitation to do this video if you fancy it. So I will tag Bex Books, as I love Becky, as I just said. I will tag Mary @ Cinnamon Please. I'm going to tag Cats and Camera, Lola from Lola Reviewer, and Alyssa from Pucks and Paperbacks. So guys, I hope that you do this tag. Like I said, don't feel any pressure, it's just an invitation. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope you're all having a wonderful week. Bye guys.